Hello, my name is Ellis Lee, and this is...
Jihun Jeong.
Last time we had lunch together having a US-style military MRE, and today we're going to try Korean-style MRE. This is the Jeuk bibimbap, and Jihun is going to try another kind of camping MRE, which is...
고추장 비빔밥.
So last time, I kind of made fun of Jihun to see if he could read the English, but there's so much, Korean. I'm scared about making this. I think I'm gonna fail. So, Jihun, have you ever had this before?
I had only one similar kind of the Korean MRE. It was maybe the Curry
style. Okay, as you remember from the last video, Jihun went to Katuza and served with the U.S. Army and as a military police. And we ended that video by asking people to send us a Korean MRE. And although no one sent this to us, we found this on the internet. So thank you, internet, for letting us find this Korean-style MRE. Okay, so the biggest difference I noticed between the Korean style and the American style MRE is there's actually some English on the Korean style MRE. So I can see self-steam cooker, and we'll try making this. Okay, I'm gonna open this now and see what we have. Okay, according to the instructions, we open it, we put something in, we wait, and then we do something. And these are the same.
So these are the instruction for 햇반, ramen, and the other food?
And this is bibimbap.
Yeah, bibimbap.
But it's the same.
Not that different.
Mm-hmm. So there's 3 simple steps. Opening, mixing the water, it looks like, and then waiting a few minutes. Okay.
Do we have a water?
Do we have water?
We don't have a water. I bring it.
Yeah, can you use that cup? And also, Jihun, can you go to the fridge and get us the drinking water?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And I just use that one. So I'm opening up the MRE. This is what it looks like. Thank you for the water.
Sure.
And yeah, so this is what the MRE looks like. And it has only 2 packages inside. I'm gonna wait for my translator, my Katuza translator, to help me figure this out. It does one. Wow, you want me to drink? Oh my god.
This is not just water to you.
Okay, yeah. You know what? What the? I'm gonna enjoy this. If Just wants to fire me, that's okay. I had a good time at Just. Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, so Jihun. I opened the MRE, and there's these 2 packages. I'm gonna guess this is the mix, the powder or something, and this is the rice, the dried rice, and the bibimbap is in here. Okay, so this is strange. According to the instructions, if my Korean is good, it says to open this package, pour in water, then mix it?
It must be some content the other thing.
No.
No?
That was it.
There must be some 고추장 참기름 in
Then
here.
it has to be in here.
Let's see.
You want to open this?
Let's see.
It says, let me try my Korean. 사용시 주의사항.
Oh yeah, that's true. We need to open it. Okay. It contains a lot of things in here.
Okay, so we open this package.
And then there must be several things.
No, there's only one thing.
One thing?
There's only the heater. This is very similar to the US style heating package. And I don't know.
So you say that we need to put this heater inside here and pour the water with this one.
Okay, now, so the instructions. This is the heating pack. And I'm supposed to put this heating pack in here. And then I add, do I open this?
I don't think so. We just... Oh my god, I'm confusing.
It's confusing. This is much more complicated than the US style MRE. The one thing about the US style MRE is most people in the military, unless they have a lot of time, they usually eat it cold, right? So there's no need to actually use the heater for a US style MRE. You just open it and eat it, even though it's cold. It doesn't taste as good. But the problem with this is that there's no way you can eat this without cooking it. This is impossible. Like, okay. Jihun, what do we do?
I'm reading the instruction. I'm a little bit confused.
Should I open this?
Oh, let's see.
The instructions are in Korean. Jihun tells me he's Korean, but he's having a hard time. Yes.
Just put the water in here without opening it and just put this one in here.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe. Maybe.
Do you know how much money I had to spend to buy this on the internet? If you ruin my lunch, that's not good. What about this one? It says like open it, pour the water. There's even a little hole. There's a little hole here that says for the steam. It's a vent for the steam to come out.
So, here is some written in Korean.
How much water do we put in it?
1 cup or 1 cup and half.
How much is a cup and a half? How do you measure that in the field? Baki, how do you measure this in Is this 1 cup? How do you measure? On the American MRE, there's a line that says, put the water to here, right? Is this the line?
No. I think it is similar with the MRE, not the exact MRE. I think so. In the Korean MRE, I have some different one.
I know. Okay, so what do we do?
Korean is difficult.
Oh, and they gave us a spoon. Oh, which one? Should we call one of your friends? Hey Yan, please come to my office and help us cook bibimbap ramen. No, not bibimbap.
Bibimbap.
Yeah, 제육 bibimbap.
You need to pour in water in here?
No. Hey, can we call Heian? Call Heian.
Oh, there's written. Open it and it has a bibimbap and 참기름.
Okay, inside.
And then pour the water in here.
In here? In here? Where's my cup of water? Because this needs water. It's dehydrated. There's no moisture. right?
But rice requires water.
Exactly. So this needs water and this needs water.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So we need 2 water for one for here, yeah, one for here.
Okay, so you open once. Did you see my little silver cup? I had water in there.
Where is it? Over there?
Oh, on that side.
Okay.
Wow, this is crazy. Okay, so I'm gonna open it.
This one?
Yeah. So I'm gonna open this one, the top. Okay, now, wow, this looks good actually. If we open this, you can see the rice. And it's got a lot of writing. Oh, you put out that much water. Nice. So inside the MRE, there's a line that says how much water to add. Okay. Do I put the water in now and this later?
Ooh.
So, do I add this later, right?
Okay. We need to add later.
Okay, so this is bad.
Do you want to pour the water in here?
Where's the water? Okay, we're gonna pour in the water.
Following the line.
Wow, we really have to cook this.
Slightly more.
Okay. Do I close it?
Yes, please.
Okay, I close this. How long do we have to cook for?
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Wow. The problem is that the water I used is cold water, so it might take longer. Okay, now this is closed.
Oh no.
What?
Cold water required 30 minutes.
It's okay. Okay, we have this here. Put this here.
Yes. Let's put the water there first.
What do you mean? There's a line?
Yeah. I mean 1 cup of water.
A cup is pretty small.
Like this, maybe 200 milliliters.
That might be 2 cups.
This must be black.
I'm trusting Jihun, the future PhD, to solve my problem.
It is 1 cup?
Okay, stop. That's 1 cup. Okay.
And then close it.
And then there's a steam vent. Oh wow, it's already boiling.
Oh, so powerful.
It's already boiling. Wow.
Oh. It insists that it will go up to 89 Celsius.
98
degree.
degrees Celsius.
98. And then, smells. It's weird.
It smells exactly like the American style MRE heater. So it's actually starting to boil the water. I think we added the right amount of water. And you can see the steam coming out of the vents. Wow, this is amazing. So while we let this cook, let's open the other one.
It must be easier than that kind of MRE. I believe.
I hope so. Oh no, 힘들어.
Korean is very difficult language.
Oh wow, okay. So Jihun just opened the MRE. What is this?
Oh,
Wow, we
similar.
have another heater. The on heater pack. And there's more instructions.
And similar with the US MRE. The same thing.
Yeah.
Open and pour. Very similar.
But this is a liquid inside.
Liquid? Oh.
It says do not drink. Okay. Oh, wow. So there's a liquid. This might be the liquid we use for the heater.
I think so. Or there's another one, liquid and something.
Yeah.
What is this one?
This is the one that's similar to the US MRE heater that uses some kind of chemical minerals. Okay. Wow, here's the little cup, the tray for Jihun to eat his MRE. And then this is the actual rice with vegetable. This looks like the American style MRE packaging.
Instructions say that this liquid is the used for the heater. So we do not use another water. We just use this liquid.
Sounds good.
Yeah. We do not need additional water. Everything is here.
Look at this. The gochujang is the same.
What happened in here?
My brother-in-law told me it's the same company that supplies the actual Korean MREs. And this one is still cooking along. Wow, look at this. Wow, the bag is really hot. This is amazing. Okay, Jihun, explain to us what you're doing to cook your MRE. Explain to the...
Oh, so what I do is just put off this liquid and then put my meal inside of this heater pack.
Okay.
And I plan to pour this, I don't know how should I call it, this liquid in here, and then this liquid will react with this heater. I want to show the heater inside in here. Ba-bam! Very solid heater.
Yeah. It's very similar to the one that's used in the American style MRE. And look at this one. Wow, feel how hot it is. This is amazing. Wow, this is crazy. Actually, the temperature in the room is getting hotter because of this boiling bag.
It seems like 압력밥솥. How can I say in English?
Sauna. Yeah, maybe.
Now it's time to make this meal.
And how long will this one take?
It takes 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Okay.
So could you grab this one? Yeah, I will pour.
But then there's no way to close it?
Yes. No way to close
Okay.
it. So you need to be careful.
And once you're done, you can throw it away here. It looks like water.
Just water?
But it says do not drink. You want to try tasting?
Should I?
Sure. Put it, yeah. Wow, it's already steaming.
Yeah, this is very...
And it has exact same smell as the American style MRE.
How I put this one inside in the pack?
Might not be possible. Okay, wow. This is steaming. Okay. Which one do you think is going to taste better? Both seem very interesting. And all the steam is coming out. This is really interesting.
Oh, it's very hot.
An American style MRE never gets this hot.
Wow, it's very powerful heater.
Yeah, look at this.
I feel like there is some fire under this heater.
Wow, even the top of the rice is hot. Quite amazing. Can you hand me the... This is crazy. So we're letting both of our MREs cook for a while. And while we wait for the MREs to cook, I want to talk to Jihun about something. In the last video, when we made the US style MRE, I told Jihun I was really impressed with his communication ability. And even though Jihun's English pronunciation is not perfect, his communication is the best. Did you go to Berkeley summer session?
Yes, I went on 2017.
2017?
Yes, summer session.
And before you left for the summer session, I told you and Heian, get a letter of recommendation from the Berkeley professors. What is a letter of recommendation?
So the letter of the recommendation is called 추천장 in Korean, but the concept is a little bit slightly different. So as you know, somebody have already know 추천장, the recommendation letter through the admission process for college or graduate school student may be familiar with this one, but the recommendation letters are very important in the US compared to Korean society. So for example, then in a Korean society, recommendation of the letter is usually easily received from the higher position of people or teacher or professor. But in the America, the letter of the recommendation is hard to get because the American, in my personal thinking, American people think recommendation of letter is is written under the writer, so it reflects the writer's fame or their authority or their.
Jihun is absolutely right. If I give him a letter of recommendation for a job or for graduate school, I'm basically saying I'm risking my reputation. I'm saying, I believe Jihun will be a good student or a good worker, but then later, if he turns out to be a bad student or a bad worker, no one will ever trust me again with my recommendations. So Americans tend to be very cautious about who they give a letter of recommendation to. And what classes did you take during your Berkeley summer session?
So during the Berkeley summer session, I could take the two classes. So one is the new introduction to neuroscience, and the other are human genetics.
Did you like the classes?
Yes, sure.
How are those classes different from classes at JIS College?
So basically, the whole content or cover the content is similar with the JIS, but the way how to teach and their homework is a little bit different. For example, like in a JIS college, in a major class, a lot of the course are delivered in a one way from the instructor to student. However, the class what I took in a Berkeley are also one way. Are in a lecture class, they deliver the knowledge, but the different thing is the recitation time. So during the recitation time, the instructor talk with the student and they will debate about some current topic about the lecture cover. For example, so when I took in the neuroscience, I learned about in a class the prion, which is famous for the brain disease.
Brain disease.
Yes. So in a lecture we learn about what is a prion, how prion mechanism work, and then the recitation time we discuss about the detailed mechanism about the prion, which was not covered in a lecture, but students are voluntarily bring the mechanism from their own way. For example, researchers are browsing the internet, or they study theirs by themselves and bring the recitation time and discuss it.
Kind of like a flipped learning.
Yes, flipped learning.
If you're interested about prion disease, Professor Zhao Jie Lee, in JIS College, that was her focus of her research for her graduate school, for her PhD. Okay, now Why should just college students be concerned about getting a letter of recommendation? Who cares? Why is that important?
So recommendation letter is not important in a Korean society because we believe we can easily get a recommendation letter from our senior management or company, my boss. However, in the American society, if I get a recommendation letter from my boss or some famous researcher, the other people think I am very two-sort people. So let's say if I apply to graduate school or job in a US society, and then if I have a recommendation letter, then they can believe who I am. So if I do not have a recommended letter, they just think he is just one of the interviewer or one of the applier. But if I have a recommendation letter, then the people who will select, who will interview me, can believe who I am.
And another reason why it's so important to get a letter of recommendation is when you apply for grad school. If you apply for the study abroad program, think about it. How do you go to Berkeley SAP or Caltech SAP? The process is, as a JIST student, you have to apply to JIST 대학교. And then if you're selected, then you have to have an interview with the professors. And at every interview with the professors, they're always going to ask the same question. Why should we send you to Berkeley SAP? Why should we send you to Caltech SAP? If you think about it, everyone who applies will say, because I have good grades, because I'm smart, because my English is good. So everyone is very similar when they apply to SAP, but someone like Jihun can say, you should send me because I'm smart, I have good grades, my English is good, and I have these letters of recommendation from Berkeley professors who said they want me to come back to Berkeley. For example, Jihun took 2 classes during his Berkeley summer session, and in both classes, the professors wrote him a letter of recommendation. One from the human genetics course. Okay, the professor said, during the lecture, Jihun sat in the front of the class and asked good questions. I've been particularly impressed by Jihun's enthusiasm and diligence. Jihun communicates well. So even though we mentioned before in the previous video how Jihun's English is not perfect pronunciation, perfect, he communicates perfectly. When he was at Katusa, even his commanding officer recognized he's a good leader, he communicates well, he deserves to be the senior Katusa soldier for his company, for his battalion. The second letter of recommendation from the
Introduction to Neuroscience.
Introduction to Neuroscience. I really like this letter of recommendation because, so we're back. The timer on the camera stopped, and so we had to restart the video. But before we noticed the camera had turned off, we had a really great discussion, and we're both very disappointed that the camera wasn't recording. So we decided to just start eating, and we're going to talk about the fact that Jihun got 2 letters of recommendations from Berkeley professors. Okay, Jihun, which one do you want to eat first?
How about this one first? Okay.
Why don't you use this bowl instead of that packaging? And when Jihun went to Berkeley, he took 2 courses. One was Introduction to Neuroscience, and the other was Human Genetics. And the professor in the Human Genetics course wrote, okay, about Jihun. During the lecture, he sat in the front of the class and asked good questions. I've been particularly impressed by Jihun's enthusiasm and diligence. Jihun communicates well. Okay. And the professor from the Introduction to Neuroscience, this is what she wrote about Jihun. He often asked thoughtful questions. Okay. And something she pointed out was during the course, students had the option for the final exam, for the final project, to either write a report or give a presentation. And most students, if they're scared about their English ability, would take the written report. Instead, Jihun decided to give a presentation. And this is what she wrote about that. Despite the potential for a language barrier, and given the choice between a written report and an oral presentation, Jihun chose to present his findings. His presentation was clear, engaging, and very well researched. His peers and I all learned new and fascinating details about the neuropathology of this devastating constellation of diseases. I hope Jihun Jeong has the opportunity to return to Berkeley for a full semester. So think about that. Everyone who applies to Berkeley or to Caltech study abroad program, all of them have good grades. All of them are smart. All of them have good English. But if you get a letter of recommendation from a Berkeley professor and the GIST interview committee, they're going to ask you, why should we send you to Berkeley again? Why should we send you to Caltech? And the students will always answer, because I'm smart, I have good grades, and my English is good. But students like Jihun can say, you should send me because I'm smart, I got good grades, and my English is good, but also my professors from Berkeley want me to come back. That's how good I am. I impressed the Berkeley professors, and now they want me to return. Okay, so really great job. Any suggestions on how to get a letter of recommendation?
So I have several tips for the recommendation letter, but before I talk about the tips for the recommendation letter, at first I want to say that getting a recommendation letter is just one step for the growing up. It is not ultimate goal of the UC Berkeley summer session. The ultimate goal of the UC Berkeley summer session was the growing up as a student or as a young scientist or as a researcher for future career. So getting a recommendation letter and getting involved in the class actively is one part of my ultimate goal. So I thought this getting a recommendation of the letter is a result from the process to reach in this kind of goal.
So your attitude was very important. Okay.
Sure.
Great. Let's see what this looks like. I'm very curious. I think that one will be better.
This one will be better?
I think so, because this is all stuck together, right? But at least that one, we added the water.
Let's
see.
Let's compare it.
Let's compare. So first we'll start with Jihun's.
Oops.
You need help?
Yes, could you please? Oh?
It looks more like bibimbap. It looks more like bibimbap. Wow. I don't want any. Just keep it. Just keep it in there. Okay. Where's your package?
This package?
No.
Oh yeah.
So according to this MRE, right? It's from this package. It comes with a little box tray to put the bibimbap in. Okay.
Ta-da!
Oh, it comes with a spork, right?
Mm-hmm. And tray.
And tray. But for convenience, we'll just put it in here. How much do you want to put in?
This one?
Yeah.
Should I pour?
Is this it? Is this it? Is this it? Wow, this is actually horrible.
Oh my god.
I think you should put a little bit in.
I pour bibimbap. No. 고추장. Because I hate the spicy food,
Yeah.
I pour only a little bit.
Remember last time when we had the American MRE, I put some hot sauce on, and Jihun said it was too spicy. Yeah, that's good.
I put in just in case. I will mix it.
What does bibimbap mean?
Bibimbap.
Yeah. What's the meaning in Korean?
So bibim means mixture. So bibimbap means the mixture with the bab, yache, vegetables, or 계란 and 참기름 meat.
Okay, I have to be honest, but the gist rak bibimbap is much better than this one. I can only tell.
I wanna go Lang right now. Oh,
Unfortunately, Rock is closed on Saturday, and we'll have to see.
Our initial thought is to compare this food with Lang, but it could not be comparable.
I had a lunch meeting yesterday, so we couldn't make the video yesterday.
Ta-da!
Ooh, it looks good.
Do you want some?
I'll take one.
Okay. More. Take more. How about it?
No.
How about it?
I like the American MRE better compared to this.
It could be better.
It could be better. Let's try. Let's take a look at that one now. This is the Ooh, it's still hot. And, the one thing about all these MREs that we mentioned before is there's so much garbage produced. Oh wow. I think this is gonna be good.
Smells good.
Let's see.
Do we have some tissue?
Yes. Oh, that smells good. Okay. Oh.
Oh.
So the difference between this is so. It's like so sticky. It's like gelatin rice. It's like the sticky rice, right? But this one, it's so fluffy, right? It's so fluffy. Wow.
It must be same thing, but totally different.
It's not.
Oh my god.
It's not. The packaging is so different. The cooking style is so different. This is amazing. This is really good. I mean, I'm really impressed with this style of MRE. Okay, now, I know Jihun does not like spicy, but we're going to add 참기름. 참기름 is sesame oil, wow, in English.
Sesame oil.
And I believe the secret to good bibimbap is a lot of 참기름. But this is not enough. And this didn't come with any. Okay. So we have some. Oh, look at this! Look at this! This is like fluffy. Wow, and so much more. Wow. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit of the bibim.
You say these food are come from the same company.
Well, I think so. According to my brother-in-law,
But there is a huge difference between here and there.
wow. So I'm gonna mix this up, and then
There's no meat in here.
This is the jeuk, but this isn't jeuk. You know, when I was thinking of jeuk, I was thinking of something totally different. This is not jeuk.
Just chop it
Yeah.
meat.
It's like the, you know, like in the ramen, they have those little things, those little,
Oh, yeah.
and they get funky in the water. What is that called?
There's no special name for that.
Gondegi? It's like
Just called gondegi.
gondegi, yeah. But this reminds me of the gondegi that's in the typical ramen. And when you add water, it just becomes more fluffy. Wow. I'm really impressed. In the last video, Jihun mentioned that American soldiers would ask him, get me a Korean MRE. And I can see why. This is more a camping style MRE. And it's totally different. Okay, get the This is a lot. I didn't add too much. Oh. Okay, try this one and then try this one.
I will compare it.
Yeah. Try this one first. always try the bad food first. Okay, that's
Much better.
Did you try that one?
Should I?
I told you, try the bad one first, and then the good one tastes even better. So for mine, I added a little more gochujang, and it looks really good. What do you think?
It tastes too simple.
Yeah, I know. It's like just
Just rice.
This is really impressive.
I wonder who will eat this food.
What kind? It's actually. This is so flavorless. It's just like rice with gochujang.
And only a few ingredients in here. Only carrot and corns.
The ingredient isn't that much better. Like there isn't jeuk, but the texture is so much nicer. This feels like more home cooked style, and this is from like, it's just horrible. So Jihun, if I order more bibimbap in the future, which one should I order? Which one should I order?
You know the answer. I don't need the answer.
Yeah, this one. This one is really impressive. Now we know how to make it. So next time we can save time.
We can make it easily.
Yeah. So what recommendations? So what recommendations do you have for your Hubes on how to get a letter of recommendation from their professors at Berkeley or Boston University, so they can have a better chance of applying to the SAP program?
So, as I mentioned earlier, getting a recommendation letter from the American society is difficult. So, only some students who actively involved in class could achieve the recommendation letter. So, to get a recommendation letter, the student need to at first involve in class actively and passionately, and then the student also need to get high score in a test. I mean, they do not need to get a 100% score, but they need to study some important concept which professor are teach, and understand what the course is about. So, if student understand the course, what the course is about, then I believe student can get high score. So it is not a big deal to them. So in a short term, if the students are involved in the class actively, they can easily get, not easily, but they can get a recommendation later.
And there was a student by the name of Park Jong-hoon who went to Berkeley summer session. And he didn't get good grades. He got B's, 2 B's. But he told me the professor still wrote him a letter of recommendation because he tried so hard to be involved in the classroom. He tried so hard to learn. So you don't have to have an A+ to get a letter of recommendation. In fact, in reading one of the recommendation letters, I don't think Jihun got A in this class. In the human genetics, the way it's written, I can tell. Maybe Jihun didn't get an A, but the professor really liked him. I enjoyed getting to know him. Jihun communicates well. Right? Wow. With his intellect, integrity, and hard-working nature, Jihun Jeong is a fine candidate for the SAP program. Wow. That's a really good recommendation from an American professor. So, anything else you want to add?
So there is several things I can give I could give it to you as a tip. So at first, please actively participate in a class. So many Korean students I feel like many Korean students are shy in an American class. I mean the UC Berkeley class. Because of the language barrier, many students tend to escape or tend to sit behind of the class. But what I recommend you is to sit in front of the class and have a real direct interaction with the professor. Because in the UC Berkeley, the class size is very big compared to the JIS college. As you know, in a JIS class, we have only maximum 30 students in a class. So regardless whether you sit in front or backside, in a JIS, we can interact with the professor. However, in a Berkeley, the situation is different. Because basically, the lecture class is very big and usually 100 students take a class. So which means professor do not know every student who took his or her class. So to evolve in the direct interaction with the professor, I believe student need to go sit in front seat. And then by sitting in front of the seat, the students can see the professor's face and professor's body language, and also many professors want to interact and they also see the student who sit in front of the chair. So one of my good memory about the human genetic class is that the professor remember the student who take a front seat, and even she sometimes remember the student's name who take a front seat. So it was, I think, taking a front seat and evolving participate the class actively is important.
Basically, to get a good letter of recommendation, you have to develop a relationship with your professor. The professor has to like you, has to be impressed by you to write a good letter of recommendation. And the human genetics professor, look what he wrote. He said, I enjoyed getting to know him. Another reason why he mentioned it was nice to know Jihun was because Jihun went to office hours. What are office hours?
Yes, so this college student I believe already knows the office hour concept, because in a required class in a GIS there is already the office hour for the linear algebra class or calculus class. But the office hour in a Berkeley are slightly different. So in a class, I already as mentioned, the class is very big, and then the class time is very short, only 1.5 5 hours and then 100 students in here. So in a class, even though professor want to get question from the student, he or she cannot get every answer, could not answer every student's question. So he or she can get answer only a few questions because of the limitation of the time. So because of the limitation of time, the professor opened another session called office hour. So office hour is a regular time in which professor and student come in together and have a Q&A session or discuss about some class material like advanced topic.
In order to get to develop a good relationship with your professor, Jihun asked a lot of questions. Both professors mentioned that Jihun asked good questions. He asked thoughtful questions. Jihun, what's the secret to asking a good question? What is a good question?
So, this is very difficult question. What is the good question? So it depends on context. So it could be different, but I believe it is very difficult to define. But I believe the good question is that to think one more step. So for example, in a class, in a neuroscience class, we have learned about some neuro disease. And then we learn about some mechanism about the neuro disease. What is the prion, how prions work. Then the good question is go further one more step. So how the prion gives real impact in a society or this kind of thing. So it is difficult to answer in a one sentence, but I believe good question is go one more further step for some next step.
Basically, if it's a question that can be easily answered by like an internet search or some self-study, that might not be an impressive question for the professor. But if you ask a question that showed 생각 많이 했어, you really thought about this issue, this problem, those are the best kind of questions to ask professors. Okay, so yeah. Any other tips for your Hubes about letters of recommendations or studying at Berkeley or Boston University?
Oh yes, so by continuously giving a tip about the recommendation letter, because we talking about the recommendation continuously, before I give some tip, first tip was the actively participate the class and sit in front of the seat, and second tip was the go into the office hour, and then I want to keep going about the second tip because I want to say why should I go to office hour. So if you go to the office hour, then the professor and the student who only interested in a topic are gathered, because in a class a lot of the students, even though a lot of students took a class, they do not participate the class actively, not 100%. But if you go to the office hour, then the students who come to office hour are those who are interested in the class and passionately and have energy about that subject. So by listening the other students thinking and their question, I can learn about the student's question, and then even the professor enjoy that question, and professor also sometimes give the deep knowledge about the topic, and sometimes give his or her experience, even though it is not directly related to the course. He or she gives some very invaluable experience story, and then I can interact with the student who participate the office hour, because as I mentioned, office hour are mainly consist of the student who are interested in that subject. The student who come to office hour one time will come to next time and third time, and they come to keep continuously coming here, and then we get to know each other. So we get familiar, and sometimes I talk with some Iranian some student who also was the international school student. So I highly recommend to visit the office hour.
Great advice. And you know, you have to have courage to go and talk to people. You have to have courage to meet your professors and talk with them. But that's the only way you can get the best education for yourself. What was the third suggestion you had?
So my third suggestion is the participate a group project by overcoming your fear. So as you know, every Korean student, I believe, have some fear about speaking English or give a presentation in English. But if you have a chance to have a presentation or have a discussion time or question, I want you go ahead. Do not hesitate. So when I go to the Berkeley, what I thought was I have a choice in a neuroscience class. So neuroscience class, the professor gives two options. The first as a final, maybe midterm project or final project, whatever. She gives two options. The first one is give a written paper about some neuroscience topic, and second one is give an oral presentation. So I could select the first choice because it is very easy and written is not a big problem to the student. And it also, I'm one of them. But I thought the giving an oral presentation in front of the UC Berkeley student would be the last chance in the Berkeley in my life. So I do not want to miss this chance.
Wow.
I want to catch this chance.
Wow.
And then it is my first presentation in front of the Polygon student or international student in international the college. I will present in a UC Berkeley. So I selected the second choice. So and then it could be overwhelmed. I'm worried a lot, really. I'm really worried about because if I worry, for example, if I could not say something in English, what I want to say.
Just talk about so sit and cry. There's so many Koreans at Berkeley.
I will be embarrassed and I'm very humiliated. So I practice a lot before the presentation to get the confidence.
Good.
And then I could show my preparation, what I prepared in a class successfully. And even I get some question about that topic. And frankly, when I get a question, I could not understand what the question at first time because I was bad at English at that time. And then I asked him, could you say one more time? And then he said same question again, and I also could not understand it. So I asked again, could you say one more time? And then he explained slowly and clearly. And then now I finally understand and give my answer to him.
Wow.
So even so, I was very embarrassed because I could not understand the question. I tried to do my best and what I can do. So if you have a chance to give like a group project or presentation, I want you confront that challenge. And throughout this challenge, you can overcome your barrier. You can overcome your limitation.
Because of Jihun's attitude, that's the reason why I respect him so much as a student, as a person, as a friend. I'm gonna let Jihun finish, and when we come back, I'm gonna ask Jihun to give us a summary about letters of recommendation in Korean. Okay, so we're gonna stop right now to let Jihun finish eating his lunch, and then we'll be right back. So we just finished our Korean style MRE bibimbap. What did you think?
The MRE was better than what I chose. Then I need to believe. I need to follow the Alice choice. He has an insight about what is good or bad.
it was we learned a lot about which version of the MRE is better. One is simpler to make but doesn't taste good. The other is more effort, but it's worth the effort. I have a quick question. You got the recommendation letters from the Berkeley professors. Did you get accepted to SAP?
So sadly, I could not apply the Berkeley SAP. Even could not apply because of the timeline is a kind of some intervener to my full schedule. So for example, usually the SAP, but G students apply the SAP for 3rd or 4 years, even in the 2nd semester. But in my case, I go to military service at that time. So if I want to apply, then if I apply the UC Berkeley, then this college have a policy that student who come from the UC Berkeley or some SAP, they need to stay in the GIS 1 semester more. But in case of me, I want to graduate the GIS college quickly, and then I want to convert into the life of the researcher. I selected to graduate. So there was the 2 options: quick graduation or go to the SAP and stay 1 more semester. But I selected the first option.
So for timing issues, to complete his military service, to graduate earlier, Jihun decided not to pursue applying to Berkeley SAP. But I have a feeling if Jihun applied, I'm 100% positive he would have been accepted. So this is really nice. Before we finish our lunch, could you summarize letters of recommendations and how to get them to your Hubes in Korea?
So, in a short term, 세 줄 요약.
In Korea.
이제 세 줄 요약 한국말로. 세 줄이 안 될 거, 세 줄 넘을 것 같은데. 그래서 추천서는 말 그대로 추천서입니다. 내가 듣고 있는 수업 받고 있는 교수님이나 아니면은 나의 보스에게서 내가 이런 사람이다 하고 추천서를 받는 건데, 내가 어느 프로그램에 지원을 하거나 졸업할 때 그레듀에이션 어플라이 하거나 인더스토리에 지원하거나 이럴 때 추천서가 있으면 굉장히 저를 돋보일 수 있는 것이죠. 그래서 추천서를 기회가 된다면 내가 어떤 프로그램에 지원할 때 추천서를 같이 받아서 첨부하는 것을 권장드립니다. 그래서 추천서를 받는 방법, 제가 UC 버클리에서 추천서를 받았던 방법, 이 3가지 팁을 이제 서머라이 하자면, 첫 번째 팁은 수업 시간 때 열심히 참여하자. 근데 여기서 말하는 열심히는 그냥 단순히 열심히가 아니라 그 교수님과 인터랙션을 하면서 정말 내가 이 에너지를 가지고 있다, 에너지를 수업 시간에 뽐내고 다른 학생들에게도 보여줄 수 있을 정도로, 다른 학생이 이 학생은 정말 에너지가 넘치는 학생이야, 이런 식으로 생각할 정도로 정말 열심히 참여하고 많이 배우자. 이게 첫 번째고, 두 번째로는 오피스 아워 같은 그 인터랙션을 할 수 있는 시간, 또는 다른 분들과 같이 그룹 액티비티를 할 수 있는 시간이 있으면 참여를 해서, 내가 설사 질문이 없거나 가서 뭔가 뭘 할지 모르겠더라도 일단은 그 시간에 한번 가보자. 그래서 가서 뭔가 얻을 수도 있고, 또는 다른 넓은 백그라운드에서 다른 사람들과 만나서 새로운 아이디어를 얻을 수가 있다. 그래서 그게 두 번째 팁입니다. 그다음 세 번째 팁으로는 이제 오랄 프레젠테이션이나 아니면은 그룹 프로젝트가 있으면 거기에 도전적으로 한번 참여를 해보자. 특히 UC 버클리에서, 이 좋은 학교에서 참여를 해볼 수 있는 기회가 굉장히 적잖아요. 그래서 인생에서 단 한 번 있는 마지막 기회일 수도 있어요. 그래서 두렵고 뭔가 내가 영어로 말을 못할까봐 뭔가 고민되고 또는 주저되고 그러겠지만, 한번 눈을 한번 딱 감고 한번 도전을 해보세요. 그러면은 물론 내가 프레젠테이션 하거나 그룹 프로젝트에서 실수할 수도 있죠. 외국인이라서 말을 표현을 못하거나, 그럼에도 불구하고 내가 그 과정 속에서 배우는 게 있을 것입니다. 그래서 여기까지입니다.
Thank you, Jihun. Thank you so much. We had so much fun making the first MRE video. We had a lot of fun, a little bit of disappointment with the second one because the video got cut off, and we were having a great discussion. But we hope you enjoyed hearing from your 선배, Jihun. And can the students contact you if they have any questions?
So whenever you want, you can give an email, then I will answer the email. So I will answer the email.
Yeah. Do you remember a long time ago at the winter camp, you spoke to the students, and then someone, oh, this is funny. Okay, let me tell you a funny story about Jihun. A long time ago, during the winter camp for the new freshman students, I asked Jihun and his good friend Jung Haeyeon to meet the freshman students. And Haeyeon and Jihun were talking with the students, and it was funny. Like Jihun said something like, "Oh, you should always ask like Haeyeon 언니, right?
누나.
Haeyeon 누나, please, buy me something 맛있는 거 사주세요, right? Buy me something tasty to eat, right?" It was so funny. And then one of the new students, 용기 많이 쓰면서, a lot of courage, said, Jihun 선배, can you buy us lunch or dinner? That was funny. What did you say? Did you buy them?
I guess I buy them.
So if you're hungry, you can ask your 선배 to buy you something nice to eat. Or if you want, if you have an interesting story, join us for lunch with us. Be nice. Yeah.
It was very fun time to share what I do, and it was also to helpful to me and think about how I live, how I work my life.
Jihun has a really nice attitude, and his dream is to become a biology professor. With his hard work, dedication, and the passion he has, I think he will be successful. And yeah, we talked last time about Jihun's accomplishments in the previous video, but I'm really happy Jihun is staying at just 대학원 for another 2 years, so we have a chance to talk more and get right to spend time together. I think that's really nice. Any last thoughts?
About anything? I believe come to here and talking about what you think or what you experience, and it would be very helpful for other students, because after the recording of the first video about the Katusa, I get some question from the JS College student. He said that I will go to the Katusa live in this December after this first semester. So could you give some advice or tips for Katusa, and what did you do, and how he can manage his time in the military service? And then he also want to talk about my research field. So anything, so you can share. I believe you can share in here, and then other students can ask about it. So I believe this channel or this video series would be one of the format to communicate with others in the pandemic world.
Well, so after his last video, Hubert contacted him, who's going to Katusa in December, and so that's one thing I hope students at GIST do more. Help each other, take care of each other. Right? We have to make a stronger community at GIST of students, of researchers, of professors and faculty, and admin staff to make a better school. So thank you for that. Okay, Jihun, ready? We're done? Take care. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.